If you are trying to build business credit and you do not know where to start, this is the video that fixes that. Because there is one specific place every single business owner has to begin. And if you get this part wrong, everything you try after it falls apart. I am talking about Tier 1 starter vendors. By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what they are, why they matter more than anything else at the beginning, how to choose the right ones, and the mistakes that quietly waste months of people's time. So let us get into it. Here is the first thing you need to understand, and almost nobody explains it this clearly. Your business does not build credit by wishing for it. It builds credit when companies you do business with report your payments to the business credit bureaus. That is the entire engine. No reporting, no credit. And when you are brand new, with a thin file or no file at all, most lenders and most vendors will not touch you yet. You have not proven anything. That is where Tier 1 starter vendors come in. Tier 1 vendors are the entry point. They are companies that will extend your business a small amount of credit, usually on net terms, without requiring you to already have established business credit. In plain English, they say yes when everyone else says not yet. You open an account, you make a purchase, you pay it on time, and they report that payment to the bureaus. And just like that, your business has its first positive mark. That first mark is what makes the next tier possible. This is why Tier 1 is not optional and it is not something to skip. It is the foundation the entire rest of your business credit sits on. Let me say that a different way, because it is that important. Think of business credit like a ladder. Every tier above you, the store cards, the fleet cards, the corporate cards, the real funding, all of it sits on the rungs beneath it. Tier 1 is the bottom rung. If the bottom rung is missing, you cannot climb. It does not matter how badly you want the funding at the top. Without a foundation of reporting starter accounts, the higher tiers will keep telling you no, because you have not shown them a track record yet. Tier 1 is how you create that track record from nothing. Now let me explain how these accounts actually work, because this trips people up. Most Tier 1 vendors offer what are called net 30 terms. That means when you make a purchase, you have 30 days to pay it back. You buy something your business actually needs, you receive an invoice, and you pay it within that window. Pay it on time, and you look reliable. Pay it early, and you look even better. Because here is a detail most people never learn. With certain business credit scores, paying early scores you higher than paying exactly on the due date. Same money, same purchase, better result. So the habit you want to build from day one is paying your invoices the moment they arrive, not waiting until the last day. And I want you to really sit with that habit, because it is small, but it compounds. Every account you open is a chance to prove reliability. If you set up every single one to be paid the week the invoice arrives, you are stacking positive early payments across your whole file. Over months, that becomes a payment history that makes lenders comfortable. It is not one big move that builds business credit. It is a series of small, boring, on-time payments repeated consistently that quietly turns your business into something a lender wants to say yes to. The people who win at this are not the ones who found a secret. They are the ones who are consistent. There is one more thing I want you to understand about why Tier 1 works the way it does. When you are new, a lender has no way to know if you are trustworthy. They cannot see the future. So they look at the only thing that predicts behavior, which is past behavior. Tier 1 vendors are willing to take a small risk on you when nobody else will, and by paying them the right way, you are handing the entire business credit system proof that you do what you say you will do. Every on-time payment is a piece of evidence. Stack enough evidence, and the doors that were closed at the start begin to open on their own. That is the quiet power of starting here and starting correctly. But here is the trap, and this is the part that costs people months. Not every Tier 1 vendor reports your payments. Some of them will happily let you open an account, take your money for a year, and never report a single thing to the bureaus. And you would have no idea. You would be paying perfectly, feeling like you are building something, and your credit file would stay completely empty. This happens constantly. So the number one rule of Tier 1 is this. Before you open any account, you confirm that the vendor reports, and you confirm which bureaus they report to, because there are 3 separate business credit bureaus, and they do not share information with each other. A vendor that only reports to one of them does nothing for your file at the other 2. If you build your entire foundation with vendors that all report to just one bureau, You end up strong in one place and completely invisible everywhere else. And the lender you eventually apply to might be looking at the exact bureau where you have nothing. So the goal is not just to open reporting accounts. The goal is to build across all three bureaus so that no matter who checks you, there is a real history waiting for them. So let me give you the criteria for choosing a Tier 1 vendor the right way. First, they need to actually report, and you need to know which bureaus. Second, they should not require established business credit to approve you, because the whole point is that you do not have any yet. Third, and this is one people forget, you want to buy things your business genuinely needs. Do not open accounts and buy random products just to build credit. Buy supplies, materials, things you would purchase anyway, and let the credit building happen naturally on top of your normal spending. Fourth, watch for minimum purchase requirements. Some vendors only report accounts above a certain dollar amount or after a certain number of transactions. You can have a reporting vendor and still see nothing on your file simply because you never hit their threshold, so you check that before you assume something is broken. Let me give you one more piece of criteria that people overlook, because it saves a lot of frustration. Pay attention to whether the vendor checks your personal credit to approve the account. A true Tier 1 starter vendor generally does not require a personal credit check, which is exactly why they are the starting point. That means even if your personal credit is not perfect, you can still begin building your business credit here. This is one of the most freeing things about the early tiers. Your business is being judged on its own behavior, not on your personal history. So do not let a rough personal credit past stop you from starting, because the first rung of this ladder was built for exactly that situation. Now, let me walk you through what the process actually looks like in order, because sequence matters here. Before you even touch a Tier 1 vendor, your business foundation has to be in place. That means a registered entity, your EIN, a dedicated business bank account in your exact legal name, a real business address, a business phone number, and your business information matching everywhere it appears. If that foundation is shaky, your Tier 1 accounts will fail to report properly because the bureaus cannot match the information to your file. So foundation first, always. Then you open your first few Tier 1 accounts. Then you make real purchases. Then you pay them on time or early. Then you wait a reporting cycle, usually 30 to 60 days, and you check your reports to confirm the accounts are actually showing up. And then, once you have a handful of positive reporting accounts building history, you are ready to move up to the next tier. That is the whole rhythm. It is not complicated. It is just specific, and it has to be done in order. And that word, order, is everything. Most people who fail at business credit did not fail because they were lazy. They failed because they did the right things in the wrong sequence. They applied before the foundation was set. They opened accounts that did not report. They jumped to Tier 2 before Tier 1 had any history behind it. Every one of those is a sequencing mistake, and every one of them is avoidable when you know the correct order in advance. Here is what nobody tells you about this stage. The hardest part of Tier 1 is not paying the invoices. The hardest part is figuring out which vendors to use in the first place, which ones actually report, which bureaus they report to, what their minimums are, what order to apply in, whether they check personal credit or not. Every single one of those details matters, and every single one of them is something you would normally have to research vendor by vendor, calling credit departments, testing accounts one reporting cycle at a time, hoping you guessed right. That is months of trial and error. And most people give up somewhere in the middle of it, not because business credit does not work, but because nobody handed them the map. That is exactly why I built the Fundabilityhq vendor database. Instead of guessing which vendors report and which ones waste your time, you start with a list that is already done for you. Inside the database, you get 66 verified vendors, organized by tier, from Tier 1 starter accounts all the way up to Tier 4. And it is not just names. For each vendor, you can see the details that actually matter, which bureaus they report to, what their approval requirements are, the direct application links, the approval notes, and insider tips that tell you how to actually get a yes. So instead of spending your first 3 months researching, you spend them building. And it goes beyond just vendors. The database also includes 25 funding sources, the kind of funding that does not require a personal guarantee at the higher tiers. So as your business credit grows, you already have the map for where real funding comes from next. It is the full path in one place. From your very first Net 30 account to serious business credit and funding, laid out in the right order. You are not just getting a starter list and then being left on your own once you outgrow it. You are getting the entire ladder, every rung, so you always know what your next move is. Now here is the part that makes a real difference over time. The database is updated every single month. New vendors, new funding sources added automatically. This matters more than people realize, because the business credit world changes. Vendors change their reporting policies. Some stop reporting, new ones start. A static list you bought a year ago goes stale and starts steering you wrong. A database that updates every month stays current. So what worked when you started still works when you reach the higher tiers. You are never building on outdated information, and you are never left holding a list that quietly stopped being accurate. And I want to make it genuinely easy for you to see all of this for yourself. So here's what I have set up. You can try the entire vendor database free for 7 days. The full list, all 60, 6 vendors, all 25 funding sources, the bureau reporting details, the application links, everything. Free for a week. No guessing whether it is worth it. You go in, you look around, you start applying to your first Tier 1 vendors using the exact information inside, and you decide for yourself. The link to start your free 7-day trial is in the description below. But before you go do that, let me leave you with the most important takeaway from this entire video. Because if you remember nothing else, remember this. Tier 1 starter vendors are where every business credit journey begins, and the single thing that determines whether they work is whether they report to the bureaus. Reporting vendors, paid on time, across all 3 bureaus, over time. That is the formula. Get the foundation right, choose reporting vendors, pay early, build across all 3, and you will have something almost no new business owner has, a real established business credit file working for you. So here's what I want you to do. Get your foundation in place. Start your Tier 1 accounts the right way, with vendors you have confirmed will report. Pay every invoice early, build across all 3 bureaus, and let the Fundabilityhq vendor database be the map, so you are building instead of guessing, month after month, as it stays updated right alongside you. Start your free 7-day trial with the link below, and I will see you in the next video where we take the next step up the ladder together.